Welcome back, everyone, to another reaction video. Well, this is actually future Chris talking. I'm talking to you after having done the reaction because I felt like I wanted to come back and redo this introduction to this video after having done the reaction because it was not at all what I was expecting this video. One of the most popular videos I've ever done on this channel was my reaction to Ben Shapiro's presidential tier list. I've done a presidential tier list of my own, and I'll throw the link down in the description. You can check that out. You guys have also seen the one that I did with Mr. Beat. I'm sure I'm not the first person to make that mistake. But I thought I'd take a look at this one. I don't know anything about this channel. I'm sure my kids probably do. But his name is iDubbbzTV, and he's got over 7 million subscribers. And so I thought I'd take a look at it and see what somebody from the younger generation thought about the presidents. But holy cow, I had no idea what I was in for. Obviously, this guy either doesn't care or just doesn't know much. But the bottom line is that whatever the reason, there are a lot of people that this is about the extent of how they view politics, and that's scary to me. It's one of the reasons why I talk a lot about being educated. I don't care what people believe as far as their political ideology is, so long as they actually are educated and they know what they're talking about. And I think this is a classic example of people judging important issues and important figures on really trivial things. So in this video, you're going to see I tried to make the best of it, but it was difficult at times. So here we go. The link is in the description if you want to check it out without my commentary. Let's go ahead and dive into this one.
What's the tea? How do you do? It's your boy Snack Dubs back with another president review. And if you want to hear the president review and you don't want to hear the recap, jump to 2 minutes in the video. But for now...
Jump to 2 minutes in the video. All right, we'll jump to 2 minutes in the video. Looks like he's ranking... fast food. So I did a fast food ranking of my own. I don't know if it was just fast food. Yeah, I think it was, but that was over on VTH Extra. So if you want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description. Let's just take a look real quick at his judging of the fast food. Chick-fil-A and a B, that's an automatic red flag to me. Anyone who puts Chick-fil-A anywhere other than S is really just kind of a unfortunate human being. Sorry to all of you. Wendy's, B, I'd put it at A. It's from Ohio. I have to rate it at least that high. Papa John's pretty good. Pizza Hut, their pizza's terrible, but their wings are really good, and the breadsticks are good. Sonic's pretty decent. Domino's, I think, of all the chain pizza places, has the best pizza. KFC, E, and Burger King, and Arby's, man, oh gosh, I don't have a lot of hope for this guy as far as his judgment on presidents, if that's how he ranks food places. Five Guys is very good, though, but it's super expensive.
We gotta close this. All right. This is what we came for.
Presidential tier list.
I'm gonna set some ground rules while I'm itching my balls. Number one, these...
All right, I guess this is probably a good time to say I don't know anything about this guy's channel, but obviously we're not going to be exactly family-friendly here, so there's your fair warning.
For yahoos, I ain't ranking them. I refuse to rank them.
Good.
Poop, poop, poop.
I give him credit for that.
Gone. And my sources for this video...
I wish he'd shut that door in the back, because like his Christmas totes or whatever those are kind of... I don't know, it just doesn't look good.
Video are as follows. Google Images. The Google autofill for facts about Ronald Reagan for kids. I've decided to only look at 18 or so of these presidents, and I'm doing it based on a Gallup poll of presidential greatness. I've also just included a couple of fierce contenders here and there that didn't make the list. One more thing, I decided to add on to the tier list because I felt like it was a bit lacking last time as far as categorization goes, so I added the Thickums category.
So it sounds like he's done a presidential ranking before, so we might have to check that one out at some point if this goes okay.
So if any of these presidents exude any thick or rotund traits, I'm going to put them down there in the queue.
So obviously it's going to be William Howard Taft, who was the rotundest of our presidents.
Little thick thing category. George Washington, one of the first presidents, he was pretty B.A. He was one of the only presidents to actually serve in battle as acting president. Like, went out there and did some badass shit while also being the president.
He didn't serve in battle. He did lead an army out as part of the Whiskey Rebellion. They didn't actually fight, though. He didn't, like, lead troops in battle as president. The only person as far as I can remember, who was actually on a battlefield as president in his role as commander-in-chief. He wasn't really leading the army, but he was there present with the army, would have been James Madison during the War of 1812.
A tier. He's not an S tier because he owned some slaves. So the thing about Reagan is that he said some shit about aliens to like a big group of people.
Our differences worldwide
So that's the United Nations.
would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
That was kind of cringe. I don't think a lot of people noticed at the time because we really didn't have a word for cringe back then. For that, I'm going to have to put Ronald Reagan in C tier.
Okay, so he's obviously going to be really superficial in these rankings, if that's what we're going to judge him on. Actually, what Reagan said there, whatever you think about Reagan, made a lot of sense, is that in times of great crisis, we tend to unite more because we're focused on a common threat. And when we focus on the common threat, we stop worrying about the differences. And I think that's important. And the same thing can happen when we focus on a common goal, a goal that everybody can get behind or the majority of people can get behind. So rather than think, he wasn't really talking about aliens. He was making a point. Stupid reason either way to judge somebody's presidency. So I can see we're not going to be dealing with a real high level of intellectual discussion here. Okay.
Here for just being a little bit cringy and Reaganomics. Abraham Lincoln.
I get the feeling he doesn't even know what Reaganomics is. He just threw that out there because he saw it written down somewhere and people said it was bad.
He was kind of awesome. A lot of people don't know this. He was the only president to have obtained a patent.
That's true.
I don't think it was very robust, at least not by today's standards. He only
Also a fantastic wrestler. 300 wins and only 1 loss, and that opponent might have cheated.
had like 2 pages to his patent. It's kind of lame. It was for like buoying boats over shoals. I didn't look up what shoals were, so I'm just gonna have to.
So how can you say it's lame if you don't even know what it's about? I don't know.
Assume they're like real big shells on the shore. And another just kind of awesome thing is that he freed the slaves. A tier. The New Deal was kind of overhyped.
I agree with
Howie
him on that.
Taft.
It is kind of overhyped. I'll give him credit for saying that.
This is 350.
But wait, that's all we're going to say about Franklin Roosevelt? Nothing about World War II? Nothing about anything else that went on in his presidency? We're just going to leave it at that. Oh, the New Deal was overhyped. C tier. This is really, really... And here's the deal. We can laugh about how surface level this is, but honestly, the sad reality, not the people that I'm talking to right now, not you, the audience of this channel, because I know you guys are a bunch of very informed people who are aware of the issues, and when you vote, whatever country you're a part of, hopefully you're in a country where you get to vote, you are educated on the people you're voting on. But here's the sad reality. And this is true for people on the left, people on the right, people in the center, everywhere. There are a lot of people who vote based on stupid stuff like this. Based on, oh, he seems like somebody I could have a beer with. I don't care about his policies. I just think he's cool. Or, yeah, that one thing he did I really don't like. So, yeah, you know, that's the sad reality. I think a lot of people vote that way.
50 pounds of presidential goodness.
He's from Ohio.
Most of that fat was allocated to his ham hock regions down here. Thickum tier. Jonathan F. Kennedy. He was shot
Jonathan F. Kennedy. It was John. It wasn't Jonathan, but anyway.
in the head, but he had a lot of charisma. B tier.
He had a lot of charisma. B tier. Okay.
Theodore Roosevelt is Bay Queen. He established the national park system, which is super fucking cute. And I think for that alone, Teddy is in S tier.
You get S tier just because you did national parks. So let's throw Grant up there because he created Yellowstone National Park. But I don't think Grant's even a choice on this one.
Truman is a bit creepy, and he bombed
Why
one
is he
of
creepy?
the best countries in the world.
He bombed the best country in the world. Got some news for you, my friend. They weren't the best country in the world at the time. They did invade China and a whole bunch of other countries in the Pacific. They did launch a surprise attack on the United States. They did a lot of pretty horrible things to the places that they invaded. Not the greatest country in the world at that time.
Yeah, sure, he may have ended the conflict, but he ended the conflict in the same way that a drunk frat guy ends a conflict at a party, by belly flopping onto a plastic folding table.
That might be the worst take I've ever heard on a president. And that's saying a lot, because we did a whole video about how Woodrow Wilson did nothing wrong. Okay, all right.
Not good. Harry Truman goes to F tier. Grover Cleveland is a mustached little thickum who got a lot of boys into some deep trouble.
He also married a girl that was practically his goddaughter, that he knew when she was a little girl, and then he married her when she turned like 21.
This fella here is known as Thomas Jefferson.
He's known as Thomas Jefferson.
He made one of the best purchases in presidential history, the Louisiana-style purchase, which was $15. Wait, $15?
$15 million.
$15 million. Presidents aren't making deals like that nowadays. Yeah, give me all of Louisiana for $15 million. This guy was...
Wasn't all of it was the Louisiana Territory, which is basically the entire center section of what is now the United States. It wasn't just Louisiana.
Wheeling and dealing. However, he wasn't great in not being in debt. And I think that's kind of not very responsible of him. So as much as I want to put him in like S tier, he's going to go in A tier along with these other great men. My name is Jimmy Carter. I kind of remind you of what's that guy? Mr. Rogers. Yeah, Jimmy Carter seems like a nice guy. You know, he's a sort of sweet little fella, but D tier for just being a little too sweet of a little type of fella. This guy right here is Chester Arthur. He's a president of the United States, which I think sort of goes to show you that, like, this can happen. Like, not every president has to be epic for the win. Some of them can just be like, oh, yeah, that's Chester. Yeah, Chester became president. The most remarkable thing Chester was known for was staying up very late, sometimes till 2 a.m., but I don't know what he was doing, if not playing Minecraft with his friends.
He also helped end the spoils system, which he was a product of himself, helped deal with kind of a lot of the corruption that was going on in government with patronage jobs and things like that. And Chet was not a bad president.
For that sort of miraculous waste of time, I'm going to have to put Chester in E tier. Not going to apologize for it either. Dwight...
The fact is, he doesn't know anything about any of these people. He's just winging this completely.
Eisenhower. He spearheaded the creation of NASA. Those are the guys who send a bunch of creatures into space.
Interstate highway
float
system.
Around all willy-nilly. He was kind of a war guy, I think.
Kind of a war guy, I think. He was Supreme Allied Commander in Europe during the Second World War. Kind of a war guy, I think.
War isn't always too bad, so I'm going to put him in B tier. Richard Nixon is one of the best floating heads in Futurama, not one of the best presidents. E tier.
But why? You can't just say that and not give reasons why. You could argue things against him if you want to. Okay, obviously he resigned in disgrace because of a cover-up of a crime. But and he also, he got us out of Vietnam. You can argue about how that happened and whether or not there was some shady dealing going on. He created the Environmental Protection Agency. He had a lot of diplomatic successes. Just say something. Just anything other than head in Futurama.
George H.W. Bush.
He's going to talk about him
HW
puking.
doesn't stand for huge wiener, although I think he's a big dickhead. He did one of the most unspeakable things to Japan next to bombing them out of existence.
He threw up.
He vomited some strange white milky substance onto Kichi Miyazawa.
He did. I remember that.
Tier. Next up is Andrew Jackson, the creepypasta president. If you look at any of the artistic renderings of this guy, he looks like a less ghoulish John Kerry. C tier.
I'll give him that. He does look like John Kerry a little bit. I'd never thought of that before, but didn't say anything at all about his presidency.
Lyndon Johnson is sort of a Vietnam War lover type of guy, so I think he goes into like the D category. Yeah.
Also signed the Civil Rights Act of 1960.
Why not? Last, but certainly not least, is John Adams. I need to emphasize something with you guys. This old guy right here refused to own slaves at a time when it was pretty cool to own slaves.
Not if you were in Massachusetts. Nobody in Massachusetts was like peer pressuring others into owning slaves. He's acting like somehow John Adams was like, I'm above that. I won't do what everyone else around me is doing.
You were kind of seen as kind of a badass. This guy said,
no,
F
you weren't.
That. So what he did was not own a single ounce of slave. KFC, I hope you're taking...
All right, so wait a second. So we're going to give John Adams S tier for not owning slaves, but we're going to have Washington... we're going to have Abraham Lincoln in A tier for freeing the slaves, but we're going to have Washington and Jefferson, who owned slaves, also A tier. I just don't even know where to begin with any of this, but honestly, this says a lot about our culture. It says a lot about the world in which we live, unfortunately, that this is about as deep as a lot of people go.
Notes, be more like John Adams. Don't be like Colonel Sanders. Slavery is not cool.
What's Colonel Sanders got to do with it? He's a 20th century guy from Kentucky. He didn't own any slaves either.
That concludes this video diary. Thank you so much for watching, everyone.
All right, I have questions. I have a lot of questions here. So I went onto his channel. I was trying to find the other, because it sounded like he had talked about other presidents at other times, but I couldn't find anything. So, all right, I feel like I am now dumber for having watched that. So I apologize if there was no real value given to you in this particular video. But if nothing else, I think it's a good lesson for all of us. Please, please, please. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care what your decision-making process looks like for that. Just please educate yourself. Please learn all you can. It's a presidential election year here in the United States. Please learn all you can about the candidates and make an informed decision based on your values, based on what matters to you, based on who you think is going to do a better job and make the country better and make the world better. And do so by educating yourself. Please don't be like this guy when it comes to decisions that you make. And I know this may all just be a joke to him. I shouldn't take it so seriously, but history is what I do. And it hurts my heart in ways that I cannot express to hear people rank presidents based on things like he was fat or he did something really stupid that I don't like, but otherwise I'm going to ignore his presidency. So anyway, back to more serious topics tomorrow. If you have a particular video you'd like me to do a reaction to, let me know in the comment section below. Check out the links that I talked about earlier. I'll put those down in the description as well as up on the screen here in just a second. Thanks for watching.